Do I have to say it's going to continue for 20 years? I don't. If I think it's going to continue for 4 years, good enough for me. You know what I mean? Now, I do happen to think it's going to continue for much longer than 4 years, but let's not even have that discussion. Let's just focus on the next 4 years. Do I think Bitcoin price is going to be over $100,000 in the next 4 years? 100% I do. Well, okay, if you're an investor and you have an asset that you have very high confidence that's going to do a double in the next 4 years, well, you probably want to allocate a significant amount of your money to that investment. And that's really kind of the way I'm practically looking at this as an investor. And I think it really should give you confidence that you want to hold this asset over the long term. And you want to hold not just 1% or 2% of your net worth in it, but something much more substantial.
If you enjoy listening to crypto-related content, please show your support by liking and subscribing to this channel by following the link in my bio. And get access to my free daily crypto updates and expert predictions direct to your inbox. Each newsletter contains market intelligence, on-chain data and latest updates from experts in the crypto space. All of this is available completely free of charge. Signing up only takes a moment and you can always change your mind later on. In a recent update, renowned investor and mathematician Fred Kreuger explains his power law model and how it works in terms of explaining when investors can pull their money out of Bitcoin and collect some profits. Kreuger uses the power law to explain his price projection for Bitcoin. Make sure to watch the rest of this video, where Kreuger breaks down how this model and his outlook for Bitcoin.
Jim Bianco makes a point, like somebody in their 60s or 70s, let's say 70s particularly, right? And they're looking at something like, the NASDAQ in 2000, right? Well, they're like, I can't wait 10 years to get my money back. I might need my money in 5 years or 3 years or 4 years, right? So I think the real question, and a lot of investors like this, is not what Bitcoin going to do in 20 years, because they might not even be alive in 20 years or 30 years, right? I think the question they have is, how long is this thing going to take realistically for me to at least get my money back? And sort of under the worst case, or to get part of my money, not a lot of my money back, right? And I think the power law kind of quantifies that, right? So, and I think if you really understand this power law, you realize that, the chance of this thing completely breaking down for a period of 4 years or more is probably pretty low, right? So I would say you can be more confident than you might otherwise be by looking at this power law. That's it. Now, as far as, I'm not saying this is a trading tool. I mean, you could use it for trading, but I think a lot of people are just using it for position sizing. How big should you be, right? Now, if you're very young and you're starting out in your investing career and you're just doing DCA, you don't need the power law, right? You can just sort of put all your money into Bitcoin. You like Bitcoin, great. It's going to do well. If you've got some kind of more of a finite time frame, let's just say 5 years or less, then you kind of need to have a little bit of a sense of the risk and the downside. I think that's where a lot of people are getting confused, right? They're sort of saying, well, the ship has sailed on Bitcoin. I need to get involved in dog coins, okay? And my point to you guys is there's still a lot of action in Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin could go up 30, 40% a year for the next 5 years, maybe even the next 10 years on average. And those are exceptionally great yields. You shouldn't be too greedy. Now, if you start saying, yeah, well, that's not enough for me, I need to go into dog coins. The problem is your, dog coins, they could lose 90% of their value in under a year. So it's just, it doesn't make sense to say, here's an investment that can give me maybe 30, 40% a year. And it's not good enough for me. I need to get 400% a year. And therefore I'm going to risk it all on something that's a really bad bet. And it's just going to crater my entire position. So I just think that's just bad. It's nothing to do with Bitcoin. It's just a bad investment ideology. And I made a post about this, which is, Look, I think Bitcoin is not meant for making money per se. It's meant for saving the money that you have. So, you should look at it as you're going to be increasing your value and purchasing power of every Bitcoin you buy. That Bitcoin will buy you more house. It'll buy you more car. It'll buy you more food 10 years from now than it does today, right? But, maybe for 2-3 years, it buys you the same amount. Who knows? But it generally speaking, is a very good savings thing. And yeah, I do think it's going to buy you a lot more, and it's going to do very well. But it's also has a very good downside risk, as the power law indicates. Now, if you go and you say, well, it's not good enough, I need to go complete degen. Well, I'm just saying that it's not smart, right? You should not go into the worst, dog coin that you can find just because you want massive volatility and you want to shoot for the moon. So I'm okay with what Giovanni's saying. I'm okay with doing some trading around using the Bitcoin power law or whatever you want to do. What I'm not okay with is you taking your money and just putting it on the number 22 on roulette, because you're going to lose.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to access my free daily crypto updates and expert predictions direct to your inbox.